guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing our annual wrap and chat video where we give you guys like 20-ish minutes to wrap your gifts while we chat with you, while we wrap our gifts. Usually I'll get like 1 or 2 gifts wrapped because we're busy talking, but we'll see how far we get today. So if you guys are new around here, this is my husband John. And he is not a great rapper, but he's standing nearby to the supplies in case I need assistance. So yeah. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go ahead and get started wrapping our teen daughter's stocking stuffers. I wrapped our little girl's stocking stuffers yesterday. We're wrapping hers today. And that answers one of the questions that came through. Do you wrap stockings? Yes. We do.
Yes, she does.
Yes, I do. So we're gonna go ahead and get started wrapping our teen girl's stocking. All right, so I'm gonna ask you the question and then I'll wrap. Will you answer?
Okay, am I the only one answering?
I mean, I might have some input, but... Okay, so... Let's see, I'm gonna start with a festive one. Do you set a budget per kid?
You know, kind of. I think so even this year, we have kids who got things that were more expensive.
Oh yeah.
But the difference is, I guess the value of the object or the present. Not in regards to the financial value, but some things seem like a big gift that weren't that much money, and some things were a little more money.
I don't understand what you're saying. Do we set a budget per kid? No, we don't. That's the answer. Warm up.
Yeah, I should have coffee in here instead of eggnog.
I had an actual conversation with him before this video, and I said, John, don't give a sermon for the answers. People will say, what's your favorite gift? And you'll be like, you know, in marriage. Just.
Alright. Cut.
Okay, so do we set a budget per kid?
We don't, really.
No, we don't.
We don't. We try not to spend an exuberant amount of money, though. Okay.
So next, how early do you start budgeting and planning for the holidays, John?
December 26th. Really?
Okay. Wait, what?
We're really smart about presents. This is ridiculous. We really are. Okay.
Are we? What does that mean?
The only time we have to film is when the kids are asleep.
It's so late for us.
And we're loony.
John, how early do we start budgeting and planning for the holidays?
Probably a few months in advance. Like 3 to 4 months.
Okay, let me try to find something that's not so difficult.
This is great.
Why is this so hard? Okay. Okay. Favorite gift you've given to and received from each other?
Okay.
Don't say the easel.
No,
that's an old story.
That joke has become bitter.
Okay.
Terrible memory.
Terrible memory.
I don't. So
One time John repurposed something that I gave him and gave it to me, thinking that it was his idea, but it was mine. So it was already belonged to me.
It's not even funny how bad that is.
Yeah.
Just stop.
These are early marriage year problems.
I'm a new man.
Okay.
New creation in Christ.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Does it have to be like an individual gift, like, or something that was just for me, or can it be like a family gift?
What's your favorite gift you've given to and received from each other? I cannot with you.
Okay. All right. All right, for real.
Okay. Really practical. John got me a bog bag last year. One of my favorite gifts. not a Christmas gift, but our anniversary this year, John kept telling me that I had the day free, or he had a plan for me that day, and I had been talking about doing some homeschool planning. I have this like dream of going to a coffee shop and sitting in school planning, and so I thought for sure that was what he had planned for me, because our anniversary is right before the school year starts. And so I like put all my 5 in a row books in my bag, and I went to a day spa, and I had no clue that that's where he was sending me up until that day. And so I showed up for hours and hours of pampering sessions with a book bag full of books. Like they walked me to the locker room and gave me a robe and told me to put all my stuff in there, and I was like unloading a bunch of curriculum into the spa locker. One of my favorite gifts, because it was just so not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So that's how you answer a question.
Cool. One of my favorite gifts was a bracelet that you gave me that had the coordinates on it.
Oh yeah, what were the coordinates for?
I'm pretty positive it was for Graveyard Fields.
Oh yeah, one of our favorite hikes.
Yeah, we've had some really cool memories from Graveyard Fields in North Carolina.
Yeah. And
so she got me this bracelet that I still have. That was years ago, but it had the coordinates on it.
Yes, okay. Good. Okay.
All right.
I'm trying to think if I can remember like a gift that I've gotten you that was like one of my favorites to give you, but I think I'll just...
Yeah, let's move on, because that took a long time for me to think about.
Okay. What is your strategy for handling marital conflict?
You want me to answer first?
I don't have an answer.
So, without preaching a sermon, what a book that, like a practical way of handling marital conflict. I can't talk. The eggnog is slowing down my blood flow to my brain.
It's just regular eggnog.
There's this book, Love and Respect, and in all honesty, that is such a valuable book. And we really gleaned a lot of practical ways of resolving conflict through that book,
It's true. That's a good book to read, like, if you need a refresher. Like, it reminded me a lot of, like, premarital counseling, like, all the things you go over before you're married, and then when you get married and then have real life experience, then you read the book and you're like, oh, yeah, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah, but I guess to quickly resolve the conflict would be... really to make sure that however I'm responding or expressing, if I'm responding out of being hurt or expressing that I've been hurt, I'm responding with love, and vice versa, she's responding with respect. So that quickly dissolves all, it may not resolve the conflict, but it at least allows for the other person who may be on the offense to kind of back off.
Yeah. To like de-escalate things. I would say your phrase every time that we're like in a tiff is like, we need to be back in fellowship, back in fellowship, back in fellowship. And I'm always like, I'm so like annoyed when you say that, because I'm like, oh, you're right, you know. So that's like the Jesus answer. He'll be like, we're out of fellowship, we need to be back in. Oh man.
Oh, that was a John move.
That was a bad move. So when you say that, it's like a, you know how like when you're speaking to a Christian, maybe not so much for you, but like when I'm in Christian circles and there's a lot of like gossip happening, and then you kind of like try to remind someone of like Jesus, like we're better than this kind of behavior. How it quickly changes your perspective, like back to spiritual things, and so you stop certain behaviors. When we're in a tiff, if you say that, it kind of takes me out of the present and puts me back into like a spiritual mindset of like, oh yes, fellowship, union, marriage. There's a greater purpose than the socks or whatever we're fighting about. So
how to resolve conflict? Very well? Not so well.
It's actually very true. Okay, do you still, this piggybacks on that question. Do you still go on weekly date nights? How do you manage to stay consistent with this? This is so important for us with resolving conflict, because we just keep like, have always been really.
Yeah, and it's been a transition since losing a grandparent.
Yeah. My mom was very involved with like helping with the kids.
Yeah.
Although I would say for the first 10 years of our marriage, we were really like, no, you only have the kids when you want them. Like, we're going to have a sitter like for everything that we need, until she expressed to us like, no, I want to be with them whenever you need. So for like 10 years, we hired sitters on a weekly basis. We had a standing sitter.
Right. Well, and a lot of our sitters got married.
I mean, over the course of all the time, now like two of them are having kids, and I'm like,
well, so
does that mean you can't babysit anymore?
We do have weekly date nights, Tuesdays, or it was Wednesdays, and then it moved to Tuesdays.
Yeah, it changes each year as we get the dance schedule and the karate schedule. We're like, okay, what's our date night?
Typically, we have the same table reserved at Outback Steakhouse.
Where we run into our best friends on Tuesday nights.
Pretty much.
Very often.
But, you know, we have that night like every week, and typically her dad will watch the kids, or our oldest daughter May.
Yeah,
but
we have an almost 15-year-old, so that has changed the game completely.
I have to be careful to not get comfortable though, and treat it as if the date night's always going to be there.
Yeah.
It kind of makes it difficult to be intentional if I know in the back of my mind that we have Tuesdays every week.
Right.
So you have to be really intentional if you have weekly dates.
To not make it a business meeting. Our old pastor used to call it a business meeting. Like, date nights are not business meetings. If you need a business meeting, make it not a date night.
Yep.
It's the same pastor that I've shared that advice before, like the 1 hour a day, 1 day a week, 1 weekend a year advice. He always preached a lot of great marriage sermons. Anyway, so yes, not making it a business meeting, not just being like, oh, well, we have Tuesday, and not talking about other things as they come up. But then like also, it's keeping it special, keeping it intentional. But sometimes like this coming Tuesday, it is nice that it's frequent, because it's like, doesn't feel so much pressure. So like sometimes when we really need to get things done, we can just put a date night twist on it. So like, we have to build some of the kids' Christmas gifts. We're like, how about we just like DoorDash sushi and build their gifts while they go somewhere, instead of having them watched here.
Yep.
So that's fun. DoorDashing sushi is always our go-to when we just don't want to like put on real clothes.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, so far I've gotten 3 things wrapped, so we're on a roll. Ooh, this is a really good question. How do you keep traditions alive while respecting that your olders are growing up and likely don't want to be as involved, nor are they as like excited as years past?
I think we're just getting there too. We've been there for a little bit with Bella.
Do you think that's where she's at?
I think there are some things that she is excited about them just for the sake of the other kids. Yeah. Or like the little kids.
I agree with you.
And I think it's just a natural fruit of being an involved homeschool family, where you spend a lot of time together, you travel together, you're home together.
Your sibling group is like your core.
Tight. So I just think our older ones now, because of how tight-knit our family is, get excited for the younger ones and their reactions, especially when you're having new ones all the time. Yeah,
I think that she's maybe not as excited, but I also think that like a lot of our traditions have just been forever, and so a couple years ago she asked us if we could tell her when we do like our minivan express night, which we don't even have a minivan, but we've just called it that forever, where we like surprise them and go look at Christmas lights. And she was like, yeah, I feel like I know when it's happening now, so will you just tell me? And so it's like she wanted to not figure out the surprise and be bummed out about it. So we were like, okay, yeah, we'll tell you. And then we managed for the next 2 years to continue pulling off the surprise. We just really like upped the, sneakiness to prepare. Right. And she was genuinely so happy that she was still surprised. Yeah. And so I think we're gonna pull it off again this year with our plan, and she gets excited about it, like genuinely excited. So I'm not sure, other than, I mean, what
Yeah,
things
I feel like things that we do, traditions that we have, can be enjoyed by adults, teenagers, and young kids.
That's a weird way to say adults. I've never heard you say adults.
Do you want to know why I said that way?
Why?
The word adolescence was on my mind.
You just pivot,
So
quick pivot. Yeah, I think
Really,
too, like a couple of things like our Advent reading that we do, or the storybook thing we're doing with the kids, like those things I thought the older two, who are like almost 13 and 15, wouldn't be interested in anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But they do. They sit there and they listen and they like pick out the books, and
Yeah.
there's just a sweetness about Christmas time, I think, that makes it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I was going to say something else about that too, but I don't remember what about. Oh, was it about Advent? Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, yes. They just, they do get excited to watch the little ones with that. Like, they don't fight with them anymore about whose turn it is to hang up the ornament.
Yeah.
Like, that is a relief, actually. I'll say, like, having some kids get older and you're not trying to, like, perfectly portion out everything to everyone all the time anymore.
Right.
Like, so, for example, now when it's time to hang the Jessie tree ornament every night, and I actually don't know the order of it anymore. So every night I'm like, all right, whose turn is it? And my younger ones will be like, mine. But our older ones are like, well, it's supposed to be mine, but you can do it. And it's just like, oh, what
Sweet.
a relief. It's like, it is actually really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also I noticed last year that it was really important for Bella, and probably Jessie's getting here. Are you sleeping? It was Jessie's getting here. Where after the little kid Christmas things are over, there's like, they want to stay up with us and do things. Like, they want to wrap presents. They want to shop for their friends. They want to be looking, you know, at Amazon for things. They want to be, last year I would stay up and watercolor with Bella. She's wanting to do that again. This year she's been asking me, I really need to do that. Has Jessie been asking anything specifically? I feel like there's a couple things he's mentioned wanting to do. Is it just shopping for people? He wants to just like, oh, he wanted to like set up this whole Christmas like party for the little kids.
Mm-hmm.
He, like, made homemade decorations. So definitely just giving them a little more attention in the evening time. Okay.
Sorry we can't read all of these questions.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's a lot, and then I have this set of them as well. This is a funny one for you to answer. Well, first of all, there's like probably 17 of like, when is baby number 6? Are you gonna have another kid?
We don't know.
Yeah, that we don't know. That's,
We're not
confident
either way.
Yeah, which is that's what we say every time. But I don't know. We don't know.
Tips. And I saw
sometimes we,
tips for homeschool dads. I'll make it short and sweet. I can't make it short and sweet. But,
what's your tip?
I did see that. That was an interesting, random
Do you
thought.
have a thought on that question?
A random question in the middle of all the festive questions.
Yeah, all the festive and all the baby.
Honestly, I'm gonna just say one small story about it. Recently, we
Hold
hired.
on 1 second. All right, there we go.
Recently, I was able to hire an office manager, and just to make this short and sweet, I'm serious, because it's been a very revealing time the last couple months in understanding how overloaded I was with work.
Yeah.
And how my desires were to be heavily involved at home and helping lead and establish my household, my wife and kids, and wanting to have a heavy presence here while also being simultaneously tied to running businesses. And I didn't realize how much I was vested in at work and not vested in at home. Even with trying to be as involved as possible.
I was gonna say, that's not even totally, like, wasn't even by choice. You kind of.
Yeah.
Sometimes work is that way.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying your best, but the workload's heavy.
Yeah. But I would just say this. I would say prioritize your life to where your work revolves around your family. not to where your family revolves around work.
Yeah.
That
And
really
I
has
almost
been
want to do a whole nother Q&A, homeschool dad Q&A, because I feel like we're getting into new territory with having older boys, and just the dynamic that we're wanting to establish here with me not like hovering over them all the time. We've just noticed like the need for them to be poured into in a different way during the day. So we're kind of like still working that out. They're not going to school. We're still homeschooling, but just the dynamics have changed a little bit in the last year and a half, I would say, that I think would make you kind of answer that question differently as well. Okay, last one, and then we're way over 15 minutes, of course.
It's supposed to be 15 minutes long.
I said like 15-ish minutes, but it never is. Have you ever had people recognize you in public before?
Yes.
We have some really fun stories. I feel like you would be good to answer this question.
Yes.
Because you've had funny.
Several occasions.
Like at the homeschooling conventions, that's normal.
Theme parks. That was honestly, anytime I see or someone runs into me in public and says, "Hey, John, I'm a huge fan of Abby's," or whatever, it's never weird. So don't ever feel like it's weird. It actually makes me so proud of her and how much her sharing her life has impacted others through the Holy Spirit. So I love it. But yes,
we had one funny story where we were like on a ski trip, so we weren't even it's normal around like theme parks, like homeschool conventions, more local things at the beach one time, but then one time we're in this small town grabbing a burger on our way to our ski resort, and like it was late at night, like 9 or 10, and I was like climbing into the car actively yelling at the kids, and somebody was like, "Well, I love your channel," and I was like, oh, that was the most unexpected. I was like in the middle of yelling at the kids, so it was really fun. I mean, it was funny. It's not something that I wasn't like upset or thrown off, but I was just like, oh wow, I was not expecting that here, which was really fun. I think that's the one we talk about most often. Like that was the most random little town, totally unexpected.
Yeah, that was
like
cool.
And I think the kids were like, oh, they thought that was really cool. So that's a fun story.
Yeah.
And we were at that time also like, hey, now we've got to be really careful about publicly disciplining our kids. So anyway, all right, that was this wrap and chat. I actually got so much done, you guys. Thanks for answering the question so I could get things wrapped, John.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be like three-fifths, I can't say 3/4 anymore, 3/5 of the way through stocking stuffer wrapping before December 24th. That's exciting. Before I'm on the floor at midnight wrapping stockings and John is falling asleep to the movie he's never actually made it all the way through.
Family Man.
The Family Man is such a good Christmas movie.
Can't make it through.
You can't make it through.
Nope.
Maybe this is our year.
No.
All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow.
Bye.